Welcome back to the 2 Months Podcast, presented by BioSteel and powered by Go Goat Sports. I'm your host, Joshua Marshall. We have the roundtable is back. Finally, it's been a while since we've had all the participants available. We still can't find Rupper. He might be stuck in a pub crawl somewhere still in Mill Woods area, but we have Clay.
Probably at Dicey Beats or whatever the hell it's called. Dicey. I don't know what that bar is called. There you go.
How wild is that place?
Yeah. Vandy, how's it
I'll
going?
be honest. I don't even know I made it. I don't even know if we made it to that bar. I just saw pictures.
So how many places did you guys get to? Because that's the most famous Millwoods pub crawl, I guess. Is that still what it's called, Millwoods pub crawl?
No, you can't go to St. Albert and call it the Millwoods pub crawl. I believe
you guys were. I didn't know you guys were in St. Albert.
You're in St. Albert. Man, I was in them.
Rupper really got soft.
Isn't the place to go in Mill Woods like that Rosie's place or something?
No.
No? Or is that just like where all like the old timers go hang out?
Where the old timers go out. I don't know where we.
Gotcha.
I don't know how many bars we hit. When we started, we picked all our clothes up at Valley Village, and then like all the women looked like Hutterites. They were all,
yeah.
I don't even know how that even happened. And then I can't. There's no way I'll be able to name the bars. I don't even know where we were. I was on cruise control. As soon as we got out of Valley Village, I hit the button to cruise control, and I let the pedal go to the floor.
There you go. As Mike Commodore says, you were in one and you floored it. So
yeah. I met some awesome people, man. You got a good crew of friends, and it was a blast. It was fun. It was awesome. A good time.
And we got Brody McIntyre with us. He's back, aka the closer. Broads, how's it going?
Going pretty well, man. Back to the grind here. You know, routines are kicking in. Kids are tryouts are starting. This camp, that camp, and school supply shopping, and it's crazy, man. Back to the grind.
Yeah, it's busy season. And last but not least, we have Phil Stockley, Philadelphia. How's it going, Philly?
Going pretty good. Taking a couple days off of work here, so good time to jump on the pod and chat with you boys about some hockey. You know, got away yesterday, got to Jasper for the day, so feeling pretty good.
Nice.
You drove to Jasper and back?
You got it, buddy. But I can't, like the cheapest hotel in Jasper right now is like $400 a night. I'm not doing it.
That's what it is, really?
Yeah. You can stay at like the Timberland in like Hinton. Then you're in Vandy's shoes right now, and it's like $250 a night. What are you paying for that place tonight, Vandy?
$164. Look, I'll show you. Look, this is my fucking chair. Can you guys see it? That's my chair.
Looks like a ball.
It looks like they took it out of like a 60-year-old girl's room.
Yeah, it's like some fucking IKEA or something. God, but it's my own damn fault. I planned to come to GP last week, kind of last minute, and then I had a reminder on my phone to book a hotel because I kind of thought about the evacuees from Northwest Territories, and then it comes yesterday afternoon, and I'm like, oh shit! So I tried phoning and nothing, like my regular hotel that when I come here, nothing. So I figured, okay, well, I'll wait until the morning. Called, and this was the only place, and I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. Just play sleep, I guess. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and obviously our thoughts and prayers with those people that are affected by these forest fires.
Yeah, man. There's some. Yeah. It's horrible what's going on out there. I've been I get consumed when this shit happens. I don't know why, and for some reason, like the shoe shop always has a big place in my heart. Even though I spent 4 or 5 summers there because a buddy had a cabin out at Eagle Bay or Blind Bay, I think it was. But just watching what they're going through right now, it's like, holy fuck, man. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, not good. And like we kind of put it on our Instagram page, or just stick caps, hats off to the men and women in the fighting these fights with the firefighters in BC and Northwest Territories, pretty much all over the place.
And it sounds like they're kind of fighting the government too. Like it's like stories that are coming out. Like
not getting financial assistance and support from the government is.
Well, no, they're just not getting assistance. Period. Like I've been following one account. BT's. It's a food truck lady, and she's been running food out to people that stayed in her town to help battle the blaze or the fires and whatnot. And then they put this permit thing up, and it's just it's a complete fucking nightmare. I'd be going bonkers.
Yeah,
You're going bonkers in your Grand Prairie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't follow the news. So, but
it's not even news. It's these are like people that are there and they're reporting it, and like she's posting Instagram, TikTok stories.
Okay.
And then there's like a Raven Apparel account that I started following these two guys, and it's like some of the shit that they're saying. The news obviously isn't saying it. But like they haven't seen a water bomber, and fires like basically creeping down the North Shore coastline, and it's like where the fuck's all the help? And they won't let people back in, or they'll let them back in, but they have to stay on their property. They can't go fight other fires and try to protect. It's a nightmare. I couldn't imagine what they're going through. But yeah, thoughts up to them and stick taps to the people that stay back. Good for them.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot to probably cover. I know it's somewhat the dog days of summer, but there's been some news and some things that have happened, and some good things and some unfortunate things. So there's definitely some sad things, but let's get to our NHL report, sponsored by Sheena Boychuk. Obviously, kind of the big news over the weekend was the passing of Rick Jeanneret. Phil, this guy's done an amazing job, 82 years old, but he is involved in the game, and we lost one of the great ones. And fitting, his last goal was a Casey Middlestad overtime winner. That was the last goal that he was able to call for the Buffalo Sabres. So obviously it was nice for him to go out on a win, and it's an overtime. And Middlestad's, big core of that team coming up here. Thoughts on kind of what you always kind of loved about Rick Jeanneret.
He definitely had that voice, and anybody in the world who's a hockey fan has heard that voice and knows what that voice is. And I don't know if Cam can like pop that in there right now, like during the podcast, just like one of his calls. That'd be pretty sick if he could do that. I'm sure he can. So
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think we're allowed to now. So
we're not allowed to anymore. But anyways, just go look him up, and some of his. Yeah, there it is. That's it. The Mayday call. Yeah. The Mayday call. Like, if you guys just go look that up right now and play it, that thing will give you chills. So, definitely one of the best, and it's always sad news to hear. Like we know he did step away in the last couple of years here, but he did step away for some health reasons at some point.
A little bit, yeah, but he was still when he was healthy, he was still calling games, and right there, his the last goal call was this year, and it was a Casey Middlestad overtime winner.
Right. Yeah. So and again, like just like another like voice of your childhood watching hockey. Every time you'd see a Buffalo Sabres game, you kind of look forward to hearing him with the call. Just like Oiler fans. And like Rod Phillips' voice, right? So familiar. Everybody knows Rod's voice. So, same kind of a thing.
Brody, your thoughts, the passing of Rick and kind of what he meant to the game from what you saw from afar?
From afar, that's the thing, right? He's way across the country, or in another country, but way out east from us. And you can count how many unbelievable calls he's had over the years, right? He's an absolute legend, or was an absolute legend. And he'll be remembered by many a hockey fan for years to come, and I'm sure they'll play more and more. I think it'd be cool to be in Buffalo. I'm sure they'll
Honor him, yeah.
do a huge tribute to him, and I think over the course of the year, maybe in intermissions, commercial breaks, that kind of stuff, they'll be playing lots of his calls over the next year or two or three or four, whatever it is. So I think that's pretty cool. And how many years did he do it for? Right? It's amazing what he's done, and great for the game of hockey for sure.
Yeah. And Vandy, your thoughts, what he meant to you from afar, and how much you love to hear his voice during broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. Yeah, I don't remember much about being like a young kid, but I mean, we're getting to that age now where we're going to start losing some of these legends, and it's unfortunate, but it is life, and when you lose them, you got to celebrate them, and yeah, he'll be celebrated, and he'll be missed obviously by his family, but by the Sabres fan base as well. And with them coming on, it would be nice to see them maybe go on a little run, use this as a little inspiration, tool to maybe make a little run this year. And they definitely got the team to do it.
They do for sure. And definitely the goaltending is kind of going to round into form with Devin Levi in net for sure. Big signing today, the Tampa Bay Lightning Broads, Brandon Hagel, 8-year deal, $6.5 million, $52 million deal for him. What a ticket he got, 30 goals last year. Thoughts on this signing by the Lightning?
I think, at first you quickly look at it and you think, oh man, that's a bit of an overpay. But then you think 30 goals. I know he's young. He's right in his prime for the next 3, 4, 5 years, right? And I think it's going to be one of those deals wherein, the cap's going to go up a lot after next season, I think. So
yeah,
I think 2, 3 years from now, that soon, we'll be looking at it as that's a hell of a deal. It's awesome. And good for him for getting that, and that's worth a hell of a lot more, right? Being there with the no state tax. So good for him. And again, I think looking 3, 4 years from now, we'll think of it as an underpay.
Yeah, good Alberta boy. And Elaine Waugh, who's a friend of ours, is his agent with Roy Sports Group. So great on them. Another big ticket under their firm. So that's really awesome. Phil, your thoughts on this deal and kind of what you saw from your situation in here in Alberta, seeing Brandon Hagel kind of coming to his own here, and former Red Deer Rebel too. So thoughts on the deal that he got today, and maybe that sets the precedent. I think it's a good deal because when the cap goes up, these deals are going to be pretty great. I would assume, right, Phil?
Yeah, definitely. Like you look back at some deals where like Brody just said, at the time you're just like, geez, like what are they doing? And like what's it like, it's just gonna keep going up. Like these players are just gonna keep making more and more money over the years. So, in a few years, like Brody just said, it is gonna look good. It is gonna look like a bit of a steal. Like I don't know, like you look at Draisaitl, like his is an absolute steal, right? But like at the time, people were just like, "Oh, that's kind of a lot to pay for a guy who maybe like at that time, Draisaitl wasn't so proven as he is now. Like he's said, like one of the top 3 players in the world right now, and like look how good his deal looks. So, like to be honest with you, I think it's a complete gong show when some of these players get paid, and they get paid a lot of money, and these guys who are actually signing the checks and handing out the money and handing out the contracts, they know a lot more than me about what these players are going to bring in the future and who they're going to be in the future probably. So just as like a hockey fan, I can say like, oh, that's a terrible deal, but maybe I don't see what somebody else sees, right? So
yeah. Vandy, your coaching eye, what you see from Brandon Hagel, Alberta boy, big ticket, your thoughts?
Well, you see a kid that works hard, that's coming up through a program, or I guess you can't really call it a program, but like a team that's building a culture, that has built a culture over the last 4 or 5 years, and he's a young spot. He's going to be a huge part of that team moving forward. And you got with Hedman and Kucherov and point, he just adds that another element to that core. And obviously, I wondered, like, when teams make signings like this, I would think they consult with the core, especially a signing of this magnitude. Like, would they obviously they talk to the coach, no question about it. But would they talk to like other players like Hedman and or I'm
for
asking.
sure.
I
Like
know
well, their core is pretty much locked up long term here now. Like Stamkos, the quietest, situation now.
yeah, and that's what I was saying because their
Stamkos has
core is
1 year
locked
left
up.
and he's a UFA. So, but for their core, they're locked up, from 5 years up to 8 years.
So they're probably talking to Hedman and Stammer and
off,
these guys and going, hey, what do you? Obviously, he's a good kid, good. So
They
yeah,
traded a lot to
so
get him. Like they a couple first round picks in
100%.
Chicago to get Brandon Hagel. So it was that was a lot to get. So
Good for him, man.
yeah, no, exactly. I thought it was a good deal.
And the other thing,
go ahead, yeah.
sorry, Vandy, you were asking who they ask. I was listening to Spit and Chicklets, and they had the New Jersey GM on. He was saying there's pressures from like who they speak to. The PA gets involved in all these deals, right? They're pushing for this, they're pushing for that term, and all that. So that they're not just discussing with agents and players and teammates. They're going through the PA as well, which is I found very interesting.
That's very
Really.
Yeah,
that's
Wow.
that's super interesting. Yeah, no, that's
Yes, that's a union, right? So yeah. I mean,
I guess it makes sense because you wouldn't want to jam up. Would you want to jam up the system? And you wouldn't want to jam up the system in a way. If that's the market value for a guy, that's the market value for a guy. So then it kind of screws the other GMs up going forward. If they just say, okay, well, this is good value, but we're just going to say we're going to pay him an extra $2 million more, that kind of probably jams up the system in a way. So, obviously the PA is
started with Kevin Lowe and Justin Penner. Right?
Yeah.
That's where that all started with.
Yeah. Did you guys get a chance to listen?
Second contract.
Yeah. Did you guys get a chance to listen to Sheldon Surrey on Dropping the Gloves podcast with Tim and John Scott there?
Just like the little blurbs on social media.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually a pretty good interview, but I didn't like the part that he. What's that?
The culture and how sour it was.
Yeah, a decade of darkness for sure. So yeah.
What didn't you like about it?
The one thing I didn't like though is how he took a very personal shot towards the end of the interview against Daryl Cates. I didn't really like that. Like, I'm not gonna say I know the Cates family, but what I can say is start of last year when the minor hockey team that I was a part of, we came to an Oilers morning skate and Daryl's son Harrison Cates said hi to the kids. And then, it was Bob kind of brought me into this side area with like Bob Stauffer with Harrison. And, I was talking to him for 10 minutes and he actually says the odd time he's heard of our podcast. And when it intrigues him, he listens. He's not saying he listens to every episode, but he's definitely involved. So I just thought that was nice. A pretty nice kid. He had no business of shaking my hand or coming up. He just was there to kind of meet some of the players in the team, but they were playing the Flames that night. But just, I don't know. Like that was a 10-minute situation that I just thought was nice, but I'm not gonna, but Sheldon Surrey had a little bit of a different situation, I guess. But, I don't think the Oilers in any which way cost them their career. I think the most intriguing part was, in a way too, is you've seen the regime that was there, and maybe there was a bit of bad blood between some of the maybe like the Buckburgers or Mac T's or the Lows, but these guys were getting paid all this money because the story he brought in was his first day of training camp where he knew he wasn't going to pass his physical because he had the injury, he had shoulder surgery. Mac T just lit him up right in front of all the other players, and he kind of fueled him to come back faster. But what happened when he came back faster? He got hurt quicker, so he wasn't able to heal. Right? So, like he talked about that story where Mac T just went right at him in front of everyone while they're just sitting there having a coffee in the room, and later came out, he didn't. Mac T apologized because the jealousy that he had towards the players at that time making that much money. but he's a different person now. You grow as anything does, but so yeah, I thought that was interesting. It's a good episode. John Scott's obviously a good interview. He was on our podcast, so he's had some pretty good ones as of late too. So, but yeah, I just wanted to bring up that, and then there's some other news here today too. Logan,
hang on, bro. What's your story you got?
Oh, I was coaching with Pisani years ago, and this kid shot it high, and the kid came off, and the forward came off and started yelling at the defenseman. And Fern goes, "Want to hear a funny story?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I was standing in front of the net, and remember Surrey's shot? He used to just hammer that thing, right? Remember he had an absolute missile, right? So he rips one, just misses him up at like shoulder height. So he goes to the bench. He's like, "Fuck Surrey, like keep it down." Like, "They're not paying me $5 million a year to keep it down, Fern." He's like, "All right then, that's fair."
That's funny for sure. Yeah, and obviously we had our buddy Gilbert Brulé was a part of that area there, so he's supposed to come back on with us here in a couple of weeks. So maybe we'll get some good stories out of him from maybe his time during that juncture of his stage of his career. But Logan Mailloux has been reinstated by the NHL. A Montreal Canadiens draft pick. A lot of controversy when the Habs drafted him first overall, or in the first round around, I think it was like pick 30. But he's done all the throughout the programs that he's had to do to mend the fence and move on with his career. So a highly touted prospect from the London Knights organization, and the Habs move on to get him back into the system. So I don't know if any of you guys want to have any comments there, but just the fact that it is news that he is back reinstated in the NHL, and he'll be able to start.
Okay, so let's refresh my memory. This was the kid that went to Sweden.
Correct.
And he sent a picture or got a picture sent, or like he never actually
physically he sent pictures. Yeah, he sent pictures of a lady he was with to the team he was playing with. Just inappropriate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there weren't. It wasn't consensual. Obviously, I think there were some charges and whatnot, and
but he was young. He was like 17, was he not?
Correct. Yeah. So it was during when there was the pandemic, when the OHL wasn't playing, and so he went over there to play because the OHL.
Let's not crucify the kid for making a mistake.
Yes,
it was a dumb. He's playing in Sweden, obviously with men, I would assume.
Yeah, he was playing pretty much pro hockey his first year pro hockey.
Can you imagine being a 17-year-old kid playing with men, and you're dating probably or sleeping with or whatever a bombshell Swedish girl, and you got the men going, "Hey, can you get a?" You know what I mean? I know it's the hockey culture, and we want to get out of that, but let's not crucify the kid. He's allowed to come back in. It's not like he did rape somebody or I know it was bad, but let's not crucify the kid. Give him another chance.
He literally went through a lot of programs.
100%, he probably did.
Frank Saravalli.
All he did is send a picture. That's his one thing he did was send a picture. That's it.
I think so. Am I wrong? Am I right?
There was one picture. It wasn't consensual. Obviously he apologized. I think he did some community service there. There was a fine to be paid. And then when he came back to North America, when he got drafted, there was a lot of controversy when the Habs drafted him. And then the NHL suspended him. I think it was for about 2 years, I believe. I think he went through some pretty rigorous, training off ice.
That was right at the height of cancel culture, where we're like, you say something wrong and you're done. You're never coming back. This, that, the other thing. I think we're not totally out of it, but we're getting out of it now. So yeah, of course. I mean, plus he's at that age where I don't know, like education now that my kids understand. Now they're still going to make dumb errors and dumb mistakes with the phone, but as parents, Nicole and I are teaching our kids, like, don't be dumb with that phone.
Right.
And I think that kid was at that age where, parents were naive and it only took us until a couple of years ago where we were like, okay, we gotta like explain to our kids, like, you send a dick pic or whatever to your, yeah, that's child pornography. You're going to jail, or well, you're not jail, but you know what I mean. So I think let's give the kids some leeway and let them, you know, let them give them a second chance. You can't, you know, crucify them.
I doubt he'll do it again, right?
I guarantee he doesn't have any pictures on his phone right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So he's obviously dealt with that and moved on and continues to work with some communities in the Montreal area, and I think even the Ontario area there to be a, you know, kind of that role model of trying to be better and work at being better in that community. So that was some news there. There wasn't a whole lot. Joe Valeno re-signed with the Detroit Red Wings. It was a 1-year deal, $850,000. And then kind of a cool story here. Peter Holland, he longtime NHLer, went overseas for a bit. Hasn't played a little bit here, but signs a PTO with the Colorado Avalanche. He's done some work on TSN Overdrive with our buddies Jamie McLennan and Jeff O'Neill. So good feel good story there. He's been training with Gary Roberts all summer, so that training has paid off to getting at least a PTO. Maybe his road back to the NHL is pretty sweet. Jonathan Bernier, after 14 seasons in the National Hockey League, he announces his retirement. Really good career that he had, cut short by injury here with some knee injuries, and won a Stanley Cup with the LA Kings. That was kind of cool too when he got drafted and Jonathan Quick got drafted. It was the Jonathans in net, and then obviously Jonathan Quick ended up being the superior goaltender there. But Bernier, when he was in Toronto, he played over 150 games there, and he was doing pretty good too. So he had some pretty good numbers under a tough situation in Toronto. The Boston Bruins signed Alex Chase onto a PTO, so a little bit more PTO news there. And then the Jets re-signed Logan Stanley to a 1-year, $1 million contract. And then Ilya Lyubushkin gets traded from the Buffalo Sabres for a draft pick to the Ducks. So the Ducks now have, if I am correct, they got Lyubushkin and Rato Gudis on the back end. That's a lot of meat to be on your right-hand side, and two guys that hit to hurt at times. So that will be an interesting one. And then the Sharks have hired Ryan Miller and Thomas Vanek as scouts. So there's some news there. And so that's kind of your NHL news and notes. And then I think the big one that we can kind of talk about here before we move on to our Oilers and Flames report, Jonathan Toews took to Instagram, just said taking time away from the game. Brody, your thoughts on him just taking some time away? It's unfortunate what COVID kind of has done to him here, but 16 seasons in the NHL. Hopefully we see him back, but if we don't, what a career he had, didn't he, closer?
He was incredible, right? He's a guy, he was in his prime. He was a poor man's, in my opinion, he was a poor man's Sidney Crosby, right?
Yeah.
On the ice for every situation, unbelievably reliable, never cheated the game, got lots of points, but never got I don't know if he ever got 100 points, but it seemed like he's always kind of just around a point a game, just below a point a game. But an absolute stud, right? He would suck to play against him. And the one thing I like is he didn't retire, right? The door's still open. He's got to get healthy from the long COVID there. And I predict he's back at the deadline to a contender. And goddamn, I hope it's the Oilers, because that would be absolute perfection.
Has been tied here quite often lately with the connection with Duncan Keith in this organization still. Vandy, your thoughts?
And I watched him at the John Reed tournament here in St. Albert, by the way, when he was about 13 or 14 years old. And he was an absolute stud, obviously.
Yeah.
Brody?
He's from Winnipeg.
From Winnipeg,
yeah. Great comments there from the closer there. Vandy, your thoughts? Jonathan Toews, what you saw and seen, and what could if it is the end of a career, which I don't think.
At one point, were we not talking about him being the best leader in the NHL?
Yes.
Almost
100%.
ever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, go
My
ahead.
buddy Carmelo thinks he's the worst leader in the hockey. He thinks he's a fraud.
Who does?
My buddy Carmelo Cerrone He does not like Jonathan.
Vandy's going to find him right now, eh? Vandy's going to find him.
Oh, yeah, Vandy went mute and took the. He's getting in a helicopter and he's flying to New York to get after Carm. So I'll have to play this for Carm, but yeah, I don't know where Vandy went, but he just took off. So I do
He's
think he was
angry.
waiting. I do think he was waiting for some food. He did say that at the start of the pod. Maybe that's when it showed up. But Phil,
There
your
you go.
thoughts?
Yeah, Jonathan Taves. He's another one I remember at the trade deadline talking about Kane and being traded and not being a Blackhawk. Man, would it be a strange sight to see him come back to a different team, hey?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I would
Like seeing him in another uniform just wouldn't look right. So, but
Carmelo
yeah, like
Anthony
what a
did it.
career. Like you looked at him on Team Canada too, like back at like what Vandy say?
I think he was trying to comment on my buddy Carmelo, I think.
Carmelo can eat a dick if he thinks that he's the worst leader in hockey. Sorry, Philly. I did have to go and run it and get my food that was going. Oh,
It's okay,
go ahead,
buddy.
Phil.
I was just holding down the fort till you got back, bud. Making stuff up till you got back.
Go ahead,
What'd
Vandy.
you get, Vandy?
I think it was like a quesadilla thing. I don't even know. I'll eat it later. Yeah.
So what are your
I'm
thoughts,
sorry,
Vandy? You
Phil.
you're all
Phil,
over the place right now.
I'll get back. I'm so sorry. Phil, you get back. I had to because I was listening to it in my ears as I'm answering the door, and I'm like, "What the fuck? Why would you say that?"
The poor
So,
guy, the poor hotel staff there thinks you're pretty grumpy, eh?
Yeah.
Is
Go ahead,
the
Phil.
dishes driver's not too happy with them. So
Do you remember Jonathan Taves when Seabrook was losing his shit in the penalty box? And he just came over, right? Opened the door and gave him a little tap, said whatever he said. Just
I was
calm it down, buds. Let's just move on. And
Listen, and he was like 23 years old when he did that.
yeah, he's a leader, man, a born leader.
Yeah, no.
And a shootout specialist. Remember him in the
Sorry,
World
did you
Juniors?
say Seabrook was losing
yeah,
his shit?
remember that?
I think it was Seabrook that was in the
so
penalty box.
this is where Carm doesn't like him. So Carm's it's actually Taves was losing his marbles, and Seabrook came over and calmed him down.
Oh, I had it backwards.
Yes. So that's
a big miss there. That's a big miss by me.
I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, but yeah, that's where Carm's hatred came in from. And I think it really had a lot to do with the fact that he won 3 cups and in that bubble season where the Oilers should have probably won.
Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous.
Yeah. Carm's a big Oiler fan, but he does not like Taves at all. So we'll have to play this for him and then maybe get
Phil, go. Phil, I'm sorry. Go ahead there. Buddy.
It's okay, bud. It's okay. No, I was just gonna say like even like thinking back to like Team Canada and like watching him at like the 2014 Olympics. Like
what about the
he was just so good.
The 07 World Juniors where he just captain clutch, just kept scoring goals to keep him alive, right? I don't know. I think he's had a pretty good career in my opinion. So Hall of
pretty
Famer.
good.
Totally.
Yeah. Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah.
I can see him. I honestly could see him coming back, right?
I can too.
Oh yeah. I would have said he's done.
No. I just think he just needs a little bit more time. And look at you've seen Brandon Sutter, 2 years out from the NHL. He's finally feeling good enough to get a PTO and come back. And there's no guarantee he'll get a contract, but from all accounts, he's always been in shape. It's just this COVID has kind of hurt him a bit. So and that's a whole podcast in its own with all this stuff. But we won't get into that today. But yeah, well,
I was with Bros. I thought it was Taves that calmed Seabrook down.
Yeah,
I 100%.
Yeah, no, yeah.
We're gonna have to go to the video. We're gonna have to go to the replay, boys.
Yeah,
no. I did just Google it. It was Seabrook that told him to calm the fuck down.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, he was 23 years old.
Yeah. All right, Phil. I know you've been waiting for a while for this for a couple reasons. So let's go to the Oilers report first, sponsored by friends at Shadified Salon and Barbershop. They have 3 locations. Phil, tell everyone your experience and your kids' experience at Shadified. I know you've been dying to say this. I know. With, Craig Button, but here the mic is yours, and maybe Broads and Vandy can get their kids over there too for Shaddy to take.
Absolutely. So Bosco's like, okay, we're going to see Shaddy. He told me this like on like a Thursday. We're going on Saturday afternoon. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna go. And like I'm like, geez, like this guy's gonna like I got my kids, I got my two boys, I got myself, Bosco's there, Bosco's got his nephew there, and we walk in there and
Apparently, I had a
the guy
7-year-old
just
son out of nowhere too, right? Remember that?
yeah,
People
yeah.
thought I had.
Someone's like, did someone messaged me at the picture like, does Bosco have a kid? I'm like, no, it's his nephew. But anyways, no, we walk in there. The place is packed. Shaddy just comes right up and like where we go right over to his seat and he's finishing up with a guy, but he's just
Our
top
buddy Nick,
tier,
by
man.
the
This
way.
guy is
Nick,
just
that was Nick.
yeah, Nick.
Yeah,
Big Rangers fan. He wants us to talk more Rangers, he said. So I heard Bosco ask him a question, but honestly, the guy like just so good with my kids, gave them wicked haircuts, as a balding middle-aged man. He made me feel confident again about my hair, and he gave me a wicked haircut. He totally made me feel good about my hair. I get compliments about my hair. So Shadi, thank you so much. Thank you for cutting my kids' hair. They love their haircuts. I love my haircut. So
It was so good that
I don't know.
even Vernon Fiddler, our buddy who's going to be here in a few days, said, I need to get hooked up at Shadified. So that's
Yeah, he looked at my hair once. Fid saw that picture of my hair. He's like, I want the Phil Stockley. That's what I want for my haircut.
yeah. But let's get to our Oilers report. So obviously great things there from you, Phil. So thanks you. I know you've been dying to give that a plug, and this is your first time back on since that happened. But bro, you threw something in the group chat here today. I don't know if you dive into that a little bit more. There was some more Oilers news that was tweeted out. The mic is yours, my friend.
Yeah, a buddy of mine is now the Western Canada scout for the Montreal Canadiens. Fernando Pizzani's coming out. Well, he's not retired, but he's getting back into getting paid for hockey. So he's going to be working WHL games, AJHL games, scouting kids or young men, I guess, for them. And he's pretty excited. We had a good chat about it today, and yeah, he's pumped to do it. He said it's pretty cool, all the systems they have and ratings on how they they utilize their analytics and what he's got. He's got to rate kids, and it's pretty neat, pretty cool stuff. He's very excited about it. So
That's
pretty
awesome.
neat. I actually found a picture on, where did I see it? I saw it on Twitter, and it was from a French Quebec paper, and it said Fernando Pizzani and something in French, and they hit the little translate button, and you click the link. I click the link and it pulls up to Montreal Canadiens hire Fernando Pizzani as scout, and then it's got a picture of Steve Stais. So I made sure to send that to him. Oh, hey, look at you. You're good.
Did he apply?
Looking good, eh? Looking good.
Did he apply, or who did? Does he know?
I never
He must
asked him
know.
if
Yeah, he must
he
know
applied,
somebody,
if
right?
they reached out to him. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Good
But
for him, man.
yeah, he's really gonna like it too, and he's I think he'll be fantastic at it.
That's awesome.
And he's pumped, so that's good. Good for him.
That's the biggest thing, is the passion and being pumped. So yeah, awesome. Great news there. And then the Oilers today, they parted ways with was it their amateur scouting, Tyler Wright has stepped away. The Oilers parted ways with him. So that was some intriguing news, because Ken Holland's been very highly of has spoken very highly of him, right, in the past, and from his time with him in Detroit, and so that's a interesting one there. There wasn't many details of why they parted ways, but
what's the scoop on that? There's got to be a scoop, because that's a Holland. Like Holland brought him over.
Yeah, Holland pulled him out of Detroit, right? So
there's got to be more to that.
There is, and
there has to be.
The release is it doesn't even go into many details at all. And
I know.
What is it, Rick Percy that is taking over?
Never heard of him. I wonder if it was the new guy, Jackson. I wonder maybe it's something there. I have no idea, but I obviously have zero idea. But
yeah,
it seems odd to me.
Yeah, and Stauffer's on holidays, so to get any information there will be tough. Go ahead, Vandy.
Is it a consensual thing where maybe Tyler Wright has another opportunity
It didn't even say that there. Yeah, it parted ways, and that was it. It didn't say. Usually, sometimes they say like parted ways for this reason or whatnot, but I'm sure something will come out. I saw Low Tide kind of had an article on it, but I haven't had a chance to read it. I just saw that about 3 minutes before we hit record here. So, but I don't even know how much information he has with the Athletic there. But yeah, maybe the next time we record, we'll have some information on that. But that's intriguing because Ken has been very positive about Tyler Wright, right, Brody?
Absolutely. It shocked me when I saw that. I was like, oh man, that's like
Yeah.
Colin's guy he brought over. He's always been talking about how wonderful he is and good at this and good at that. And I don't know. I think there's something a lot more to
The first comment in Low Tide's thing is they made the organization's first big move of the Jeff Jackson era.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, he probably brought in his own guy.
Could be too. Yeah, but
Hopefully, it's all just downhill from here for the Oilers, eh?
well, there were some comments in the tweets though that I think.
Chime in, buddy.
Yeah. Just throwing it out there, eh? No, but I don't know because there's also some other tweets here that the Rick who they brought in, his track record with Colorado and Philadelphia isn't really that high. So and that's with the prospects that he's drafted. So
You Philly again.
yeah, so Philly's probably loving to hear that too. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. I know Bob Green's a big voice of that scouting as well too. But there's going to be some movement and some parts being shipped around and some people brought in, some people being taken away because you have a new president of hockey operations involved, right? So this is probably the like Low Tide said, just the first piece of many to fall down. But
I hope they add. I hope he looks at the organization and he's adding scouts here, analytics there, business, whatever he needs to add. I hope he's adding to make the team better.
And 3 years.
The Low Tide article. Yeah, he goes into details about some missteps and that maybe Tyler Wright had. But I mean, when you're drafting these kids, like Holloway over Mercer, Dawson Mercer, and trading down and allowing Minnesota to get Wallstead and stuff like that. Read the article; it's pretty good.
Yeah,
trouble in paradise, boys. Trouble in paradise.
So it's just rock.
Doesn't matter, buddy. We got Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. We're gonna talk Flames in a bit here, so don't worry about it. You guys will have your chance.
Yeah. So as some other news, Frank Seravalli reports on Oilers Now today that the Oilers are very, very close to re-signing Evan Bouchard. He believes it'll be a 2-year deal, and it'll be more than $4 million. Thoughts on that? We'll throw it to Phil here. Thoughts on that, Phil? Maybe you can bring some positive stuff here instead of hatred.
It's not hatred. I don't hate him. I like him now more that I do the podcast. It's kind of weird. But anyways, we can talk more about that at another time when I feel more comfortable doing that. But no, Evan Bouchard, I think it's really important it gets done here sooner rather than later. I don't remember what year it was when Gaudreau didn't sign his contract till like opening day, like first day of like the actual NHL season. I remember the game was here in Edmonton. I was at the game, but he missed all of training camp and he had a terrible year that year. So, get him signed, get him ready to go, get it off his mind. I think that's the way to go. Just get something done so this guy can focus back on hockey and training and getting ready for the season.
Yeah, missing training camp is not a recipe for success. Vandy, your thoughts?
Well, bridge deal. That's what he needs. I mean, let's not make the mistake of putting the pressure on him like we've done with Darnell and quickly signing him to an 8-year deal. Give him a bridge deal. Let's see what this kid can come into and
they don't have money to sign him for an 8-year deal, right? They don't There's no money there to do that. So regardless,
No, I get it. I
it's
get
a
it.
bridge deal, and then
You
it's going to
you
cost
guys
them
think they would? You guys think they would sign him
100%.
to
I
an
think
8-year
they
deal?
would because they know it's going to cost them more money down the road because he's going to be a $10 million defenseman in his next contract after this one. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The way he's progressing, he will be a $10 million defenseman in 3 years from now. So you're going to get him for 2 years.
He's going to get 70 points on that power play.
That's what I mean. Yeah, he's going to get 25 goals and probably 60 assists,
You and I will get
50
points
assists.
on that power play.
Yeah, just here you go, McDavid. Here you go, Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Lock it up. Boom.
Brody, your thoughts on kind of what you see and what this means? Do you like? I don't like bridge deals personally, but
well, they end up costing in the long run. I don't know why he couldn't have gone. Well, maybe he didn't want to. 8 years at whatever the number turns in. I don't know. Obviously, they don't have any money to do that. But the thing I don't like about the way this is kind of played out, I really don't get. It's not just the Oilers. You see lots of deals like this. Is why does it need to draw out over this course of time? Like, I feel like we all knew it was going to be right around $4 million for 2 years. Just go back and forth for a couple hours. Like, why do we got to draw it out for 3 months?
yeah.
Hey, I want 4 or 5. I want 3-8. Okay, let's settle on 4. It's going to be right at 4 or 3-9 or 4-1 or whatever it is. Go back and forth a couple times and get it done a month ago. You could sleep in a lot easier. I don't get why. I just don't get why these always take so much time. I really don't.
Yeah, before you know it, these guys are coming in here next week for captain skates.
Yeah.
Right? So let's go here.
And we all knew the deal. Everybody knew the deal.
Yeah.
We could have told you this at the end of the season. He's going to get bridged for in and around $4 million.
Yeah.
Well, it's not done yet. Remember, there is trouble in paradise. So
no, there's no trouble.
Not done yet. Not done yet,
Cup
boys.
contender.
Oh, Phil.
All right.
Heater. Hashtag heater, right, bros?
Yeah.
All right, let's move to our Calgary Flames report, sponsored by our friends at Martelou Barbershop in Calgary. They got the one location. I was just texting with Nick. He's a beauty, so he's looking forward to us getting down there too. I don't know if he's jealous, but he wants that same sign put in his location, and then he wants us to come down and get our haircuts there.
My brother's been there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my brother got his haircut there, but he didn't want to make a big deal about it.
Okay.
So he went there probably a year and a half ago.
Okay. Yeah, when we first started getting them on, right? So yeah, it's a great place. That's it's funny, Shadify is the official barber of the Oilers, and Martelou is the official barber of the Calgary Flames. So it's that's why it's fitting to have them as our sponsors for our Oilers and Flames report. Some great comments from Mackenzie Weegar. Obviously a good gesture that he did. He was in the Shaw Charity Classic, and he got $10,000, and he donated that back into the community. So obviously pretty sweet by him. And then Pat Steinberg straight up asked him if he was intrigued to be the captain of the Calgary Flames, and he did not hold back. He pretty much said, "I would love that opportunity." He went into depth of why there should be a captain and what reasons a captain should be there, and why they missed one for sure last year. And it's been 3 years since the Flames have had a captain. Obviously, Ryan Huska and Craig Conroy said that there will be a captain this year. My question to you guys now is, we put a Twitter poll question out to which guys we think. So in basing this on Michael Backlund, friend of the pod, resigns because he's got 1 year left. So if he resigns, he is my pick of the captain. But Brody, will throw to you first. Who do you think should be the captain of the Calgary Flames this coming season?
I think as a business, the best thing they should do is give it to Lindholm. Kind of force his hand to sign a long-term deal. Bill, did I just blow your mind or what?
I was off the board.
I was
the 4 people that we didn't have in the Twitter poll. But yes, if he resigns, definitely he would be thrown back into the conversation. Phil,
not even resigns because he's got 1 more year, right? So
yeah,
give it to him now. Hey, we want you to be our captain. Congratulations. Roll him out there. A bunch of pictures. He's not going anywhere after that.
Well, I've actually seen reports that he is listening now to the Calgary Flames offers. Have you heard that, Bosco?
They're back and forth from what I heard. Yeah. It's been a back and forth.
Here we go, Brody. That back and forth again. Hey,
Yeah.
let's talk numbers.
It's scary. You talk about a shit show in Edmonton there, buddy. How about in Calgary?
I didn't say I said trouble in paradise. Calgary is no paradise right now, but
yeah, semantics. You're having to woo one of your players, beg him, please stay here. Here's what we can do for you. That doesn't bode well, buddy. So the only way
if we do I don't know. Like, we don't just all get given captains, right?
Oh my God! Why are you whining?
No. One of the things, one of the comments, and that obviously that these comments when Mackenzie said it, they asked him about the all the smoke of the guys, the Hannafins, the Lindholms, the other guys that don't want to be here. And he just kind of shot back and just said, you know what, I'm not going to waste my time on that. My time and energy is going to be focused on the people that do want to be here. And that was kind of his response to that question. And obviously, you're not going to give a guy a captain when it's 1 year left on his contract. It just doesn't happen, right? So it was even shocking for Giordano to get the captaincy in Seattle. In that year, knowing that they're, that was a rough year that they're going to be, and then they ended up trading him. But I do agree that, I don't like this no captaincy situation in the NHL. It's really, crept up here. It's quite a bit now. A lot of organizations don't have it. So in my opinion, I don't like it because it, you could see why it doesn't work that way. It's good to have one, but for the Calgary Flames, they do have a lot of candidates. Rasmus Anderson's one of them. Mackenzie Weegar's one of them. Jonathan Hubert is one of them. Nazem Kadri's one of them. Michael Backlund, if he resigns, one of them. And like you say, Lindholm, if he resigns, is one of them too. But, I'm friends with, we're friends here with Bax, and, he's a good guy. But yeah, they're in a tough situation if he doesn't resign. But he has the right to, forgo free agency if he wants. It's in his deal. And, he had a great year last year. And, even listening to some of the comments, like this was really tough to hear. Like, this is another tough, like, I like Daryl Sutter, but, Tyler Toffoli was on Spit and Chicklets today. And I don't know if anyone heard him talk about what Michael Backlund had to deal with. That was kind of tough that, like, he just had a kid. He had 1 hour of sleep. And Daryl said, yeah, I don't care. You get to the rink, you're practicing. Like, Backlund called the trainer to be like, yeah, I'm not coming to practice today. I just had the kid. And Daryl's like, yeah, that's not happening. He's coming to practice. And he showed up to practice. Like, and Toff talked about a lot. Like, what's that?
Wow. That's
Like,
shocking.
Yeah.
Considering you've already been to war, won the war with that player, and you still. Come on, man.
Even Toffoli talked about a lot of things that he, like, he got, like he said, he got AHL Player of the Year for Rookie of the Year, and he thought, Daryl was going to be really nice about it, and Daryl kind of came up to him and was like, yeah, like, he belittled him for like 4 straight hours, and then like 20 minutes later, they're on Hermosa Beach in Los Angeles, and him and his wife see Chris Sutter. And he's like, okay, I got to get out of here because if Chris is there, Daryl's right around. And then Daryl comes walking right up, gives Kat is Toffoli's wife, a hug and kiss on the cheek. And then he goes, hey, Tyler, how's it going? How's your morning going? And Tyler's like, what the hell's going on, man? Like, you just shot me for 4 straight hours. Yeah. Like, there was a lot of, he talked a lot about, like, but in a way, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He goes, it was kind of comical, right? Like, he talked about his first time that he got called up, and he brought his dad up, and then he didn't play, and because obviously there's the Jacob Pelche situation that happened with the Flames too. That Daryl didn't know his name and number and what time he played and all that. It's all head games, right? Daryl was a head games kind of player, kind of coach, right? So
how about him saying, coming into the dressing room, Ladar, get ready. Markstrom doesn't look like he's going today. They're like, it's 0-0 after the first. He made 11 saves that period.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Settle.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen. I'll be honest with you. I've done that.
Come on.
As a coach, yes, I have done that. And
Get
in a
ready for the
playoff,
hate mail, bud.
I like, and we're talking 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. I've leaned over to Rupp, Luka Wesky, Fish, my brother, guys that I've coached with, and it'll be 0-0 after first. And I'll be like, we should be killing this fucking team, blah, blah, blah. And I'll lean over and go, should we pull? We should probably pull one of the goals. Don't look at me like I've done it. I kind of get that, but yeah, I mean, it's to hear that. I was waiting to drive back from GP to listen to the interview, but like, wow, that's a guy you went to war with and won with that, and you're still, and it's 100% not disrespect, but I guess it kind of is, but like you would think you would have more of a relationship, borderline friendship with the player. No,
Didn't
One of the
Daryl?
things he-
But
Sorry,
that
go
more
ahead.
started because
We're-
they were talking about Daryl not liking players that had kids during the season. Like once the season was ended, like he didn't like he wanted you to have like, which is tough because your majority of the
we're
time
fucking
they hockey.
males. We're males. They're young, testosterone filled
Yeah. He hated,
athletes. That
yeah.
we're banging when we bang.
interesting, yeah. But then he talked
Go
about the
somewhere
rookie
else.
parties. He's like he expected everyone to go to rookie parties, and it was a good interview. Like that it's like he was on our podcast, the Foley. We didn't get any of those kind of conversations, but maybe we just didn't ask the right
Well,
questions.
we don't.
But
He's not. Yeah. Like,
it's
Not at the end. And they also had a good story about how when he was in LA, they locked him out of the dressing room and played loud music when they could
yeah,
physically see the door banging to get in.
yeah,
But
it was
they
Justin.
did it.
Yeah, it was
It's all
veteran.
mind games for Sutter because and speaking like what I was talking about the goalie, he doesn't care if the players like him. He wants the team to gel, and if they're all gelling against him, that means the team's gelling and they're going to be better. He doesn't give a fuck if they like him or not. He cares that the team is going to be better. I thought that was kind of a cool
Yeah,
way of looking at it.
yeah, and obviously he's very. Toffoli's been very vocal of how much he does like Daryl because he's had him since he was 20 years old. But
100%.
Yeah.
Respects on it.
yeah, and the same. Backlund said the same thing. He's had.
You don't have to like a guy
him.
to respect
Like,
a guy, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just say this: Calgary better have an outstanding season because all those players they got their way. Daryl's gone. They got a new coach, so that
So, Phil,
that was the problem, right?
So, Phil, when we go back to the first question, 2, 1, who do you think will be the captain, and who do you think should be the captain?
Rhett Warner made a really good point today. He said, if it's Michael Backlund, why haven't they just announced it and given it to him yet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's not resigned, so it's an easy.
Well,
right? Like you're like,
but like you said, Seattle gave it to Giordano, then traded him the same year.
Yeah, but I think
Seattle they wanted
came out and said that was a mistake, though, right? Like not to say.
But the auditions are on, right? The auditions are on. Like you hear about players like who's the first person to call these kids when they got drafted by the Flames? Jonathan Huberdeau called me. That's what you hear. So Jonathan Huberdeau is doing that stuff. You hear about Jonathan Huberdeau kind of rallying the guys and getting them together and doing team building stuff, right? And then you hear Mackenzie Weegar's comments. So it's like, honestly, it's like I don't even know these players personally enough because I like Huberdeau and Weegar and Kadri. It's like they've been on my team for a year. I don't even know them well enough to say like, yeah, that should be our captain. Because like I don't know, and like when Daryl said it last year, like there's no captain on this team. Part of me thinks like maybe he's right. Maybe there isn't a captain on that team. And then didn't Daryl also say like Sean Monahan? Now that's a captain. That's who I had my eye on from when from like the moment he was drafted by the Flames. I said Sean Monahan is going to be our next captain But then he, injuries got him, and he got traded. He's not there anymore, so that's not an option. So for me, I kind of agree with what Rhett Warner said. Like, yeah, Backlund seems to fit the bill, but why didn't they give it to him already? Why isn't he the captain right now? If like let's be honest, the Calgary Flames said 2 months ago, or whenever Huska was hired, Conroy was hired, if like a week later they announced Michael Backlund as the captain, would any of you guys have been surprised? No, nobody would have been. Everyone would have been like, oh yeah, makes sense. But here we are. Bosco, you said it. Captain skate starting a week here in Edmonton. I don't know, probably similar to Calgary, and still nothing.
Yeah.
So Phil,
but they're probably not going to.
I don't know.
Who do you think's going to be the captain, and who do you think is going to be the captain?
Well, that's right. Sometimes the person who is the captain isn't the captain of the team, right? So.
Wow.
Okay.
Giving us nothing.
Switzerland.
He is
That's
giving us nothing. I don't know why he's not giving us nothing.
Wait, be in Switzerland and give us a fucking name.
It's great.
I think the Calgary Flames. Did I lose you guys? Am I here?
We're here. I don't know what happened to you.
We're waiting to hear from you.
We're waiting to hear.
Yeah, I think they will name Jonathan Huberdeau the captain of the Calgary Flames.
Absolutely.
I think a dark horse who I think should be the captain of the Calgary Flames is Chris Tanev.
He sucks to play against, I assume. Oh, he would be terrible to play against.
That is a guy who you look at and you would go to war for every single night. So, because that's kind of the way he plays, right?
I guess I should have. The thing is, I didn't put that question out right because maybe I did. I don't like. It has to be someone that's signed long term. That's the logistic, right? Like Tanev is 1 year away from free agency. Lindholm free agency. Backlund free agency. Like all these guys are 1 year away. So.
Well, you got to think about it like from a Flames point of view. Like when a player comes out and says he's not sure if he wants to re-sign with your team, that hurts like the fan base, right?
Who said that?
Just Michael Backlund's comments about if he's unsure if he wants to re-sign here, right? Unless things change, he doesn't know if he wants to re-sign here. So
and
it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, no, yeah, I don't blame him. The guy's been in the league a long time. He wants to go to a contender, right? I don't blame him. But would you name him your captain if you're unsure of the future?
No.
I don't know, man. He just won the Clint Clancy Award, right? Like the community work that he does there. That's captain material, in my opinion. Like
100%. 100%.
He checks every single box that, for me, every day to Sunday. So. But maybe he's bitter because he should have been captain last year and they didn't give it to him, right? He was the only one that was.
But the Oilers went down that road, buddy. We had Jason Smith,
exactly. Let's scale it back. The captain of the team doesn't necessarily need to be the vocal guy, need to be the community guy, needs to be the guy in the dressing room or the guy in the dressing room.
According to Mackenzie Weegar's comments, you would be wrong on that. Because he says you need to be that. You need to be the vocal guy. You need to be in front of the media. You need to go to the GM. You need to go to the head coach. You have to deal with all that. You have to do the community work. It's in the gym. It's outside the gym.
Okay, well, if you say that, then it's the guy that needs clout, and it's Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah. And obviously,
here's my question. Here's my question to Brody and Clay. On your teams, what do you guys look for when you're picking a captain for your teams? Even in minor hockey.
You want to go first, Clay, or want me to go? I think it is the most ridiculous thing. Kids, they're friggin' 10, 11 years old. There is no captain. They can all rotate. I don't care. Like, kids can vote on it, whatever. I don't think it's even... maybe you get older, it matters, but what's a captain doing with a 10-year-old?
Yeah, and midget and bantam.
Yeah.
Like, I look at I didn't even have it for my bantam team this year, but I'm going to speak just watching the 3 or 4 games that I watched with Ozzy and Luke this year, and I look at the leadership that they had And I'm like, yeah, they did their homework on these kids, and
Yeah.
those are character kids, and the way they work in a game. I never saw them in practice, but to me, it would, if I'm looking for a captain when I was coaching at that level, it was you're looking for a guy that the kids kind of not, I guess, look up to, but
Gravitate.
a guy that brings it, yeah, gravitate and brings it even in practice. Like it's so hard to explain. Gets it. They get it, right?
Yeah.
They get it, and the
Yeah.
kids feed off
Want to hear a
it.
good
and
story, boys?
Yeah, go
There's
ahead.
a kid on that you're talking about, Clay. He was one of the assistant captains on the team. So throughout the whole year, Ozzy and Luke were kind of second, third liners. They had all the three best players all played on the one line. Line was unbelievable. Midway through the year, the coach changed lines, had one of them on this line, one of them over there. This guy named Matt Slajois, unbelievable kid. He's a leader, born leader.
You put that in the
Awesome.
chat. Yeah.
It's he gets on the horn, calls Ozzy, instead of moping and I got taken off this line. He gets a group chat, texts these boys. Let's have a conference call at whatever 7:00 on Sunday. Calls them up. Hey boys, here's our line. Here's how we can be successful. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna be awesome. At 14 years, I'm like, that's incredible. Like that's a leader.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And almost like I find like a leader like in like a first impression with someone too sometimes, So it's like,
Yeah,
I don't know,
for
like
sure.
maybe nobody in that Flames locker room is doing that stuff.
Oh, I think
Like,
there's
I
probably
don't know.
a bunch.
I know there
NHL,
probably
you're
is,
probably-
I don't
Well,
know.
you just said it.
but
Huberdeau's
you
only been
hear
here a year. He's only been here a year, and here, I mean, in Alberta. So I mean, it's like, going from Florida to Calgary, where, let's face it, different lifestyle, different everything, and then you come to Alberta, and you're, let's, like I say, I don't. Everybody is picking the Flames to finish this, that, the other thing. I think the Flames are going to have a hell of a season, boys.
All right.
Well, you can't.
I think it's an unpredictable year. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do this year.
Well, no, but I mean, the skill is there on paper. And if we're going back to talking about captains, you just said it. He's making an effort to he's not here requesting a trade after he just got traded to Calgary and saying, I want the fuck out of here. No, he's willing to work with management, willing to work with the new coach, this, that, the other thing. So, I mean, to me, Huberdeau, you put the C on him. Let's see what he does. You can always take it off. And just because he has a C on his jersey, hence the story that Brody just told, that kid doesn't have a C on his jersey.
Yeah.
And he probably would have done, that kid probably would have done that without a letter on his jersey.
100%. And you know what's cool about that? I told the dad that about 2-3 weeks after it happened. Dad had no idea. So it's not like he even went to his dad. Hey, Dad, here's what I'm thinking about doing. Here's what I did. His dad's like, oh, that's fucking cool. I'm like, not looking for notoriety, just did it.
Yeah.
Confident enough to do it too.
Yeah.
100%, as a kid.
Well, I look at it, the stories that we know, right? So like Backlund going and telling Daryl to F off a lot last year, right? Getting in his face. So, the writing's on the wall, but I can see why Backlund might not, feel the way he feels. Like, I can't remember those comments. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the press conference because I don't remember him saying he didn't want to be there or was questioning that. So I'll go back and listen to, the end of the year.
Could Backlund have said maybe not right now? Like, I don't know.
Oh, he's been.
We'll see what the future looks like. Yeah.
I don't want to be open up the privy conversations that I've had with him, but I know where he stands on wanting to be, a Calgary Flame for the rest of his career. But I can see where maybe things went south last year because of how things, maybe played out and whatnot. I don't know. Like, again, we're not in that locker room, so you go off of comments of other. We don't ask those questions. We don't. We're like spitting chicklets and spitting.
Right.
It's missing curfew. We're too much podcast. We don't ask those questions. We never will. That's not. Yeah, that's not
Did
how.
Messier ever wear a letter? Did he have the A here?
Who?
Messier.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
80s. Yeah, he was an A. I know he was captain then when Gretz left, but I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be the loudest guy. And I get it. It's a way different era, and you got to be more communicative. But, yeah. I don't know. My pick's Huberdeau.
Find out soon enough, I think.
Yep.
You should find out
Huberdeau,
sooner than later.
and let's do our season predictions because I'm picking the Flames. Everybody's knocking on them, but I think they're going to be a lot better than everybody thinks they are.
No, I'd be surprised if they have. I'd be very surprised if they have a worse year than what they had last year. I'd be very, very surprised.
Of course not. They didn't make playoffs. I'm telling you right now, the Flames are making the playoffs.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be surprised if they I'm not saying they'll win the Pacific Division because I still think Vegas is the better team. The Vegas really hasn't changed their team. If anything, they've gotten
better. They still got that core.
So
they're going to get a wild card spot.
Yeah,
Flames are making them, man.
But I think Markstrom will be better. A lot there are a lot of guys on 1-year deals that have contracts. Usually we see those guys have career years into their last deals before they move into another deal. So that could bode well for the Flames.
Remember that when you start bashing the Oilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
It's all of us, Phil. All of us on this podcast.
You know what?
There's zero
Bosco
conversation.
Can say.
Yeah.
I've been nicer to the Oilers lately.
Yeah. So there's
I've been kind.
For Oliver Shillington. That's a top 4 defenseman that you're putting right back in the Flames.
Let's not forget about him.
So
right,
I like him.
He has an element that none of those defensemen have, and that's skating the puck out of the zone with speed and vision. So he finally came into his like Greg Budden said on the last. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with the Flames. Obviously, a heated debate towards the end of the podcast here. I feel like it was good. There's some good content, not enough to carry on to the Leafs. We'll have to leave the Leafs for another day because we are running late. I do not like podcasts are over an hour, and this is going into an hour and a half. So this is well over its time.
Well, let's go.
No, I don't want to. No. I'm. We'll leave the Leafs.
Fast forward button. If they want to hear Leafs talk, segment it. Go Oilers, Flames, Leafs, dude.
Exactly. No, we'll do Leafs. We'll do Leafs another.
Bosco's too fired up to talk Leafs.
I'm not fired up.
Yes.
I just think I think Backlund's the easiest choice. Longest Flame tenure.
I'm not taking anything away from Backlund. I don't want to take anything away from Backlund because you know what? I love Backlund and he has been so good for the Flames. But
honest, and I hate to interrupt again. I know we're interrupting a lot here. You can't give it to Jonathan Huberdeau. 56 points. It's too much pressure on him, man. Like you just need him to go and play and not worry. Like go and be the. You could
100%.
He could still be the guy that texts the guys first. He can still put the teams to get parties. He did it in Florida. He just didn't do it in Calgary because Luch did.
Yeah, because he had Barkov.
But that's who I think they're going to name captain.
What does Edmonton have up north? They got the best player in the NHL, 100-point guy as their captain. Huberdeau needs to be the C.
No, but I understand what Bosco was saying with is he ready for that yet? Because he needs to focus on having a better season.
Okay, so you're saying no Huberdeau. Earlier,
No,
Bosco, you said you can't pick Backlund because he's only got a year left. It has to be somebody with term. So who?
Yeah, who you picking?
Crickets.
Phil, you're the Flames guy here. Like, let's go, buddy.
No, I told you. I told you. I said I think they're going to name Huberdeau captain.
Yeah.
But I would like to see Chris Tanev as the captain.
All right.
There you go. I like that.
All right.
Can't
But
argue.
we're asking
That was painful.
you, Bosco. Bosco, who do you say?
Like I said, it's Backlund. I say if I pose the question like we did on our Twitter page, if
Yeah.
and I put it in brackets, if Backlund resigns, it's Backlund. That's who my vote is. It's Michael Backlund.
But then you said he's got 1 year left. You can't give it to
If he
guys 1 year
resigns.
left.
I just said if
Oh, you
If
did.
he
Right.
resigns.
If he
Okay,
resigns.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Based
If
on
he
him
doesn't.
resigning, it's him. If it's not him, there's some other great candidates too. Blake Coleman,
So
Stanley
who
Cup
won the vote? Or is it still out there?
Oh, it's still up there, but Mackenzie Weegar's winning it by a landslide because people go off recent news, and he's the most recent guy to have an interview that went public. I'll give you guys the updated number right now. So, right now there's 82 votes casted. There's I put this for 7 days long. You can do it for 1 day or 7 days. I did 7 days long. So with 82 votes casted, Mackenzie Weegar's at 43%, Backlund's at 26%, Huberdeau's at 17%, and Rasmus Anderson's at 14%. So and there's some great, like, if anyone listened to Pat Steinberg yesterday, one thing he brought up that I didn't know, like, there was times I think it was Yusuf Valimaki had a bad game, bad turnover, and he was getting chewed up part in front of the media. And Rasmus Anderson walked over and said, "Hey, get away. Let's go. Come talk to me. That's my guy. That's my defenseman." Like, he took the heat.
That's awesome.
He just said, "You're not
Another
jamming
great
him.
candidate.
You're not jamming him up. Like, Yusuf, you go over here. I got you, buddy."
Oh, I love the way he plays.
And he goes, "Here, hit it." And he went for 2 minutes. He went on a 2-minute rant. He said, "This is why you don't do it. It's all good, buddy. I got you." Like, because it was a puck that he passed over to him that put him in that position.
Put him in a bad spot. Yeah.
So there's, when the Flame, like, I don't, like, we watch every Flames game, but I don't watch every Flames press conference. But we're more adept here. But we'll be, try to do this. That's one thing we want to get better at, is kind of covering what's being said or heard more with that. But there's no like, I know, and this is the thing that I get a lot, if I get recognized in the public or conversations with people, even today at the Perry Pern Camp, there's a couple Oilers media. "Oh, you guys are pro Flames. You don't do any Oilers." I'm like, "Hey, man, we've tried to ask Oiler players to come on our podcast. It just hasn't happened because of the Oilers Plus situation. So it's nothing that, I don't think the Oilers are trying to jam us up or anything. It's just they got a new different way of getting their information out with Oilers Plus. No other team has that. So, we've had 5 current players from the Calgary Flames on, potentially a 6th. We have a big guest in the hopper here for us. If it goes through, that'll be awesome. If not, it will kick it down the road and see what happens. But but yeah, there's no hidden secret that the Flames have been easy to deal with when it comes to our podcast and all that. But they're still at the end of the day, both these organizations are great and they should be in their prime. The Oilers are definitely in their prime, and Calgary should be right there too. But with the new coaching staff and a great offensive mind coach like Mark Savard, and the defensive minded Brian Huska, that should bode well for them. Markstrom should have a bounce back year, and you would think that some of those other guys that had, like, how many of those guys, like Jamie Noodles McLennan said on the podcast just recently, he listed off like 6 guys that had horrible years in Calgary. Can those guys have 6? Can those guys have 2 seasons of horrible years again? Maybe they do. I don't know.
What I'm talking about. There's no chance,
but
dude.
They should not.
You think Markstrom's gonna have a bad year?
I don't think so.
You think Huberdeau's gonna get 56
if
points
Huberdeau
again?
gets back to 116 points, maybe not, but she should
And
get back to
you've got
100.
Lindholm on a contract here. Not a chance, dude.
Yeah.
I'm
And
telling you,
I like the fact that there's going to be some young players like Matt Corrado and others injected into this lineup, so there should be Walker Dewar. Like, this guy's a great player.
Peltier's good too. Think about Zari too. He's got to have a bounce back season.
Yeah.
Down in the AHL too.
You're going in the minors. I don't have any clue who you guys are talking about, but I'm going to take your word for it because Bosco, he called Wi-Fi last year. So
yeah. Cool. So, and Gino the following year. So
yeah, we got to do like a Bosco
off the
Bosco
top.
Call of the Year or something, or
Yeah.
like make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make it like a Bosco. I don't know what you call it, but
Prediction scouting report segment or whatever. So
but make
Clay's
it like
dinner. Clay's dinner's probably getting cold though, so we should let him go.
I got a micro. Listen, I'm in the kitchenette.
Oh, you splurged, hey?
there you
I have a stove.
go.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Is there anything
100%
else you guys wanted to add before we jump out here? I know it's been pretty late here, but
No,
I'm
I
good,
thought we were
bud.
gonna talk about the East.
okay. All right, we'll save some more heated conversations for our next roundtable next week. So, our next interview after this one will be legendary beat reporter for the Boston Bruins, Joe Haggerty. Hacks with Hags is his Twitter handle. So, Joe Haggerty will be joining us, and that interview will be published on Friday. So, we're looking forward to having that out. And it's been a pretty good, some good feedback here. We definitely want to, plug our fans, our sponsors, our guests. We have moved up the rankings to 28th in all of Canada for hockey podcasts. So we cannot thank you guys enough for your plays and your downloads. So that definitely means a lot. Go over to YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Shaddy is always giving me shit because I never plug this. So, he's probably plugging it more than I am. So definitely go over there and check that out.
That's another thing really quick. When we were there getting our haircuts, Shadi literally stopped every person that walked by, made them pull out their phones and press the subscribe button on their YouTubes.
Yeah, he's a big
What a guy.
He's
He's
probably our
awesome.
biggest fan for sure. So so like us, subscribe there. Everyone enjoy the rest of the week ahead. Stay safe, travel safe, be humble, be kind, and we'll chat with you guys very soon.